Minecraft is a beautiful little block game. With its seemingly endless generation and virtually infinite possibilities for building, it's no wonder why it's been so popular for so long.
But in recent years, Minecraft has taken a bit of a step in what we think is the wrong direction.
Now, we might seem a little harsh in this video, but just know that it's out of love. Me and Chip have been playing this silly little block game for 8+ years, and we just want the best for it. So, keep that in mind while we discuss
The cave update is something a lot of people have been waiting for, and now that it's finally out, we don't really feel like it's what we had in mind. Now, don't get me wrong, the mountains and caves do look really nice, but that's about it. In practice, they're way too big to actually traverse, and it makes the game more frustrating than it needs to be. Another problem that adds to the difficulty of traversing is that there's so many caves that fuck everything up. The mountains are already really hard to climb, but then there's a huge ass pit that goes down to bedrock stopping you. It's not fun, it's just annoying. Another problem with the caves are these motherfuckers. They're filled with just water. And unless you have crazy enchantments or water breathing potions, exploring them are almost impossible. I understand that they kind of work in the oceans or beaches, but sometimes they just show up in the middle of some mountain, and it's just the worst. The fact that you have to be decked out to explore these things is just a prime example of how Mojang is hiding everything in late game. Minecraft early and mid game is so fast now that whenever I play, it's basically just me speedrunning through iron and diamonds so I can get an elytra. And with how big the mountains are, it's really hard to move around without one. Plus, when I'm looking for a spot to base early game, the biomes are so giant now that I've literally had to walk thousands and thousands of blocks out most of the time. You know, I'm a gamer, so I can manage, but I could see how a lot of people would have trouble finding a good spot to base. Yeah, finishing off how everything is so big now, I feel like whenever I make a house, it's so small in comparison to the environment that it just looks fucking dumb. I mean, I feel like all the mountains, caves, and biomes are so like geared towards hermitcraft style buildings. And while I do enjoy building megastructures from time to time, I just wish it was a little easier to build things that fit the environment more.
We have plenty complaints about 1.18, but there are some major issues with Minecraft's direction recently as a whole. One problem is that so many of the mobs being added is entirely useless. In the old days of Minecraft, when a mob was added, it had a purpose. Pigs drop pork chops, sheep drop wool, skeletons drop bones, blah 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 blah, you get the idea. Recently, all the mobs added, like pandas, polar bears, even like, I'm gonna get into it, bats, they have no purpose. You can capture a polar bear or whatever and make a zoo or something, but they don't drop anything useful, and it just feels like they were added because Mojang could. It's a trend that I've been seeing, and it continues to happen. For example, axolotls, while they were advertised as being helpful for guardian temples, in our experience, they just die. They just run away and die. It's stupid. I just wish Mojang would finally add a mob to the game that actually has a purpose, even if it's a couple updates later. And if a mob or an item has a use, it's usually just a one-trick pony. For example, copper. Like, okay, you can make a lightning rod. That's kind of cool. And you can make there's nothing. That's my problem with it. Is that there's so much potential. They could have used a ton. They could have done a lot, right? But it's just they just don't. I understand that that's a new feature and it needs to be added onto, right? It's going to in the future, but that's another part of the problem. Mojang constantly adds new shit, but they never flesh it out, even updates later. There's so many things that have been added forever ago. They just said that they were going to flesh out, or it feels like they were going to flesh out like in a couple updates, and then they just didn't. And it's a vicious cycle. It just keeps happening. It's happening with copper, and I'm tired of it. The fucking and bats. Bats suck. They are the worst. They fly around, they're annoying, they break redstone shit sometimes, and they drop nothing. They drop absolutely nothing. They were added all the way back in 1.4, like, what, over 7 years ago now? And they just don't do anything. But anyways, continuing on. Storage in Minecraft is a big issue. There are so many items that it's really hard to store everything that you want, especially if you're out adventuring. So, Mojang has decided to add the ball sack. Now look, I appreciate that Mojang is trying, but I feel like their solution to this problem is overly complex, and modpacks have been doing it for years with no issues. Like, modpacks, fucking, they had a lot of shit, and then their solution is a backpack. You know, like any other person would think of. But Mojang was like, no, let's do a bundle. It'll be fine. We want to be unique, you know? But the bundle is so clunky, and it does not work the way that you would think it works. It's just so overly complicated for no reason. And I understand, like, the shulker box is in the game, right? And that's an endgame backpack, basically. But how about you just make a backpack, and then it's only, like, a hotbar or something? I don't know. Just shut up and make things simple, you know? That's what Minecraft's about, right? Simplicity. And they just keep not doing that. But finishing this off, one complaint that we have with the gameplay is fucking powdered snow. Now, I do think this is kind of an interesting idea, you know, a way to add more variety and challenge to the environment. But, A, mountains and caves are already a bitch, and 2...
You fucking ruined horses, bro. Literally, horses and powdered snow are just incompatible. The horses just sink down underneath, and they're doomed. There's literally nothing you can do about it. It's the same with dogs and stuff, too. I feel like it's a massive oversight, and at the very least, I think dogs and horses should be able to wear, like, leather armor, you know, that stops them from sinking down. But no. So, new update, bigger caves, more mountains. You'd think it would be easier to find resources. But no. Mojang has completely changed the way in which ores generate. My big complaint, though, is that coal now spawns super high up. And that's a problem for a couple of main reasons. First off, I don't want to have to constantly go to the mountains to get coal. It's annoying. People argue like, oh, it is just how it is now. It's to add more challenge. But why should I just have to deal with it? I don't like it. And I don't think it really makes the game harder, but just more annoying. Second problem is that the caves are just fucking massive. And if you want to light them up, it takes so many stacks of torches. You know, when I'm down in the caves, I need coal, and now I can't get any. Some people don't think that's a problem, but at least to me, it's really frustrating when finding coal deep down is the way it's worked ever since coal existed until now. Coal's hard to get, but you know, I feel like everything else is also hard to get. Caves are huge, as previously stated, and a ton of the ore spawns super high up on the walls or in underwater basins now. And again, it's just kind of like another one of those things where it's not hard, but just frustrating. Switching things up a little, let's talk about the Nether. So in Minecraft, you need to go to the Nether Fortress to get Eyes of Ender. It's usually never too bad finding one. But recently, I've noticed with the new Nether update, it is a pain to find one now. I mean, sure, sometimes you get lucky and find one near your portal, but there's been multiple occasions where I've had to go thousands of blocks just to find one. Everywhere I've looked, they still spawn in every biome and should theoretically spawn just as much, but I swear I can just never fucking find them ever. One thing I do find all the time are a bastion from Overwatch. It seems like these things just pop up everywhere. It's not necessarily a problem, but please, if I can find bastions, at least let me find Nether Fortresses Mojang. Alright, time for more shitting on Mojang. First off, one thing Mojang has really enjoyed doing is branding their updates. By that I mean that every update is like always centralized around this one big theme, like the aquatic update or the Nether update. I mean, that's definitely not a very uncommon thing in the gaming world, but I have problems with that, specifically when talking about Minecraft. The main issue is that by centering everything in an update around one idea, it usually means that there's so much shit that gets neglected because it doesn't fit to the next branded update. I think what makes an update good is that it has something for everyone and improves the game in general. Branded updates can improve the game, and you know, they usually have a little bit of things for everyone, like new blocks or whatever, but it's usually one slim category. Caves and Cliffs makes Caves and Cliffs better, but it's just that it's that one slim aspect of gameplay once again. You know, I want an update that's just an update instead of having to be this big branded thing.
Another issue with modern Minecraft is how Mojang decides to let people vote for features. Theoretically, this would be a good idea, right? Since people choose Minecraft's future, you know, it's a whole community thing. Minecraft has always been community driven, but there are some major issues. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Mojang's on the right track here, but letting people vote is too much freedom. And I mean, just look at what happened with the glow squid. You know, fucking dude on Twitter says one thing and his entire squad of 5-year-olds fucking gloms on to that because, oh, he said the thing, let's do it, let's vote for it. You know, it's too much freedom. People can exploit the system, since Minecraft YouTubers are like the fucking gods of Minecraft nowadays. And I don't know, it's just I feel like they should have a platform for people to just keep submitting shit at like just like a forum. Maybe they already do and we just haven't found it, but we just, you know, it's just, that would be better than having a mob vote. That, why don't they just add all 3 of those mobs into the game? It's just bullshit.
One thing that Mojang seems to like doing is adding endangered mobs into the game. I honestly think they just keep doing it because they're endangered and not because they're good additions. I don't really like that. Of course, I think it sucks that animals are endangered, you know, and I'm not saying that's not important to talk about, but I want Mojang to add things into the game because they're fun and because they add cool features into the game.
Quality of life mods. They're pretty much necessary now. People, like, oh my god, Minecraft is playable without them, obviously, but everyone fucking installs Optifine, you know? Some people install mouse tweaks, and that is like an essential thing for me now. Mouse tweaks is like, why is that not in the game? Why is that not in the game? It's so simple. I wish Minecraft was a little bit more video gamey and more like just give me the quality of life shit, man. They added the telescope, which is like you have to do a bunch of shit to go and get it, and like it's not even worth it at that point because you're already like at that level of the game where you don't need the telescope. And they could have just made it a button press like Optifine, and it would have been fucking perfect. It would have been fine. Literally, the button just changes the FOV slider. That's it. It's not that hard to do.
Locking shit away. God, this is something I really get fed up with sometimes. There are some cool things in the game, like woodland mansions, for example, that I just fucking can never find. I'm fine with rare structures and biomes. Don't get me wrong. But, for example, with the woodland mansion, it's not a particularly hard structure to explore. And I feel like it works really well as a mid-game structure, but I never, ever find them mid-game. So I don't know. I just, they feel too tucked away. Same with like ice spikes biomes. You just never find them, ever.
Another complaint that I have about Mojang recently is with Bedcock addiction. Sorry, Bedrock Edition. There's a lot of small things with Bedrock Edition that are weird to me. It just kind of overall feels like an off-brand Minecraft game that you would see on the App Store or something, or like even like a Roblox thing. It runs beautifully. We'll talk about that later. But I just find it very like off-brand, not Mojang, not Minecraft, not my Minecraft at least, you know. You can't hold torches in your offhand, you can't hold blocks in your offhand, you can't hold like shit there. I don't know why. You could probably hold fireworks or something. I don't know. I'm not fully sure, but I don't know. Bedrock is just weird. I haven't looked into it too much. It's just gut feeling, you know? A lot of this video is just gut feeling.
One thing I miss with older Minecraft updates is the fact that when things were added to the game, it was up to the players to figure out how it was going to be used. Like, for example, when Notch added redstone, he didn't tell people to build a computer in Minecraft, but they did anyways, you know. It's things like that that I kind of miss in Minecraft sometimes. I want to explore and figure out features instead of just being constantly told how they're used.
Lastly, let's talk about useless bullshit. First off, cutesy bullshit, parrots and stuff are fine, but when it's added just because it's cute, I get tired of it. You know, pandas, axolotls, parrots, dolphins, and even bees were really just added because they're like endangered creatures and they're cute, you know. Pretty much talk about this problem already, but like, fuck. I don't know. I just want useful things in Minecraft. Also, I'm tired of the filler bullshit. Andesite, granite, and diorite are all filler bullshit, and they exist just because they can. And I don't like it. They're okay building blocks sometimes, but like, they really suck. Honestly, they're
So, the entire video we've been just shitting on Minecraft and Mojang's decisions.
But we want to talk about some things that are good in the recent updates too.
One good thing is that Mojang is vastly popular, but in a good way. And I think that popularly really means like that I'm not worrying about it falling out of relevancy or updates stopping anytime soon.
Sometimes popularity can be annoying, but in this case, it's kind of a reinsurance that our childhood game is still enjoyed by millions. I think a big part of that popularity too is how the community is always fucking fuego.
Except dream, fuck dream.
People have been banging out mods, texture packs, maps, and the list goes on for years. The community is fucking awesome and has been recently doing a really good job of contributing back to the game and making shit cool for everyone to enjoy. One other thing is that Mojang, with its fucking latest, like the newest update, 1.19 coming out, has some cool original ideas like the Skulk and Warden. It gives me the same vibe as how creative the Blaze and Enderman were, you know, back whenever they came out. And I hope they do more cool shit like that in the future, like other than just doing real life. Now, I did talk about how the cutesy bullshit was stupid, but hear me out. I will say a lot of people like and enjoy those features, and it can be kind of fun to have a bunch of cool pets. You know, it's not all bad, but I still wish that they were useful. But yeah, Mojang has been killing it with the diversity and features. You know, if you want a fucking garden full of animals, you can. If you want to build like a fucking prison of animal prison, aka the zoo, you can. It's all up to you. You know, that's the whole point of the game.
Now, branded updates I do think are bad, but kind of what I touched on a little bit earlier, they usually have stuff for, you know, builders and explorers, you know, etc. The features are all usually pretty different from each other, which I think is at the very least a good thing. I also do like how they've been making the environments more immersive. Like for example, in the Nether, each of the biomes have their own custom ambient tracks that I really do think adds a lot to the atmosphere. I know they're planning on doing more of that in the future, and I think that might be pretty cool for making all these environments feel unique.
One thing that does anger me a little bit is that Bedrock Edition is like seen as the main version of Minecraft, which I kind of understand why, because the whole Microsoft thing. But the thing I'm happy about is that they could have totally stopped like any development for Java Edition, but they decided to keep it, using it as a platform to test new versions of the game before it goes into Bedrock, which I think is a really cool idea and really good for people that prefer Java over Bedrock, like myself and Chip plays. So yeah, I just think that's cool.
Lastly, talking about Bedrock, that shit is optimized. I mean, on my computer, Chip plays talking. I'm Chip plays talking because I'm talking about my computer specifically. I can run 128 render distance like just fine, which is pretty fucking crazy. At the very least, I will say Mojang did an excellent job of optimizing Bedrock Edition. And I think that's a really good thing for a ton of people who don't have crazy powerful devices to play on. God, it's been a constant shit show of bad things, but we're going to redeem ourselves, hopefully. Let's talk about what we would change that, in our opinion, would make MINECRAFT and its direction much better than it already is.
So first off, that untraversable terrain, what about a glider? Hear me out, okay? It fixes two issues: bats being useless and terrain being super hard to traverse. The thing is that the glider would still be balanced because it would keep Elytra's relevant by not being able to use fireworks with the glider, and you wouldn't be able to go up with the glider. You could only go down, right? It would just help a ton with traversing, you know? And also it would give more incentive to get to the top of mountain peaks so that you can glide off of them. Especially since horses are ass with the terrain, it would be pretty sick to climb a mountain and then jump off with a glider. Another thing we would change is bundles to backpacks. We already talked about this. Bundles are weird and seemingly unintuitive for no reason, so we would just make a small backpack, which in our opinion is way better, makes way more sense, and way more user-friendly than the bundle is.
Water caves, like I said, are fine in oceans and beaches, but I'm sick and tired of them being in the middle of everything. Please, Mojang, keep them in the oceans so I don't have to deal with it all the time. Another thing, I do feel like Mojang needs to scale back all of these giant changes to the overworld. The last dimension was the end, like fucking 10 years ago. And honestly, I feel like another dimension is long overdue. It's definitely too late to move the Caves and Cliffs update to a new dimension, but I feel like if Mojang adds more crazy giant stuff to the game, it needs to go into a new dimension. That way, people that are happy with the overworld right now can enjoy it, and then people that want to go explore and try out the new crazy shit can go to the new dimension for that, instead of trying to force it all onto the overworld. The overworld, you know, it's home, it's safety, it's supposed to be easy because that's where you're gonna live. I don't know. I just feel like with a cave update, it's fucking that up, and that all should go to a new dimension.
Also, older features that don't get updated and that are fucking like just left out to dry, you know, it's kind of an issue. Once again, the bat, it's dumb, hate it. What the fuck? Why does it not do anything? Mojang, can you please fix it? I just want the bat to be useful in some way.
And like we was talking about earlier, Mojang really needs to stop planning out these features so much. I mean, obviously, I think Mojang should think about how the features are being used, but I think they need to stop expecting them to only be used in one way. Mojang, add things to Minecraft and leave them a little more open to interpretation so we can explore and discover things again in Minecraft instead of just doing what we've been told to.
In recent updates, Mojang has had a big focus on making things more like the real world. In 1.18, it was the generation, and then updates before, it was adding mobs into the game that are like from real life, you know, axolotls. We've already talked about this a million times. But I don't like it. I don't want Minecraft to be realistic. It's very off-putting to me. And it's just, a lot of people played and continue to play the game because they wanted something different, and they wanted to create their own world instead of having the pre-existing world that is like from real life. Like, if you wanted to just play real life, just go build something in your backyard. Like, come on, man. Also, fix
the
fucking
recipe
book,
bitch. The
recipe book is good in theory, but it sucks ass in practice. It's so annoying because it's like splits up the inventory crafting table from the table crafting, and you have to get all the items from the recipe to unlock it. I just want to see the recipes for things because I can look at a recipe and think like, oh, that looks really cool. I'm going to go hunt down that material now.
And if I'm never told what those recipes are, then I'm never gonna have a sense of like curiosity because I don't know they exist.
I've been playing Minecraft forever, so I mean, I know all the recipes. I am a freaking gamer. But I'm looking at this from the perspective of a new player to Minecraft.
In conclusion, the conclusion comes to a conclusion. We both really love Minecraft, and that's why we're being so critical. We really do want what's best for the game, and unfortunately that means we have a lot of problems with how things have been going recently.
We left out a lot of things in this video. We had a bunch of interviews from our friends getting their opinions on Minecraft, like modern Minecraft, that we were going to slot in between each chapter or whenever it was relevant. But the video ran too long. I couldn't fit them in. So I'm just going to have those cut up in a separate video. So click on the annotation. Yes, 2016 Minecraft, not Minecraft, YouTube. Fuck it. I'm leaving that in. 2016 YouTube, baby. Let's fucking go. Click on the card or whatever, or in the end screen, whatever, wherever it pops up. Just if you want to see a bunch of our friends talk about their opinions on Minecraft.
END. Okay, time for the second script. According to all known laws of aviation, there's no way a bee should be able to fly.